Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure in welcoming all to this webinar in the eve of Earth Day, organized by the Puducherry Envis Hub on the topic Invest in Our Planet. We need to reach net zero greenhouse gas emissions by mid-century to keep the global temperature below 1.5 degrees Celsius. Because a green future is a prosperous future, together we must invest in our planet. I also take pleasure in welcoming today's speaker, Dr. Kusuma KN, Assistant Professor, Department of Earth Science, Pondicherry University, Puducherry. And I thank her for accepting our invitation to deliver the special talk on the topics of today's webinar. Besides, I would also welcome the officials of this department, Puducherry Envis Hub, and all the participants and the team members and the Eden Beast members and all the participants from the diverse backgrounds who have joined here today with us. I am sure that you all feel enriched with the knowledge and the completion of this webinar. I welcome you all once again to the webinar and hope that you all will have a great time ahead. I now welcome our Senior Scientific Officer, Dr. R. Saga Alfred, sir, to give his opening remarks.
Thank you, Mr. VP, and happy afternoon and evening to all the participants who are on this platform today. We are all aware that Earth Day is celebrated each year on this 22nd April. Mainly, we are celebrating this to honor our planet where we are living with and its natural environment. The theme for the Earth Day 2022 is Invest in Our Planet. All the international bodies call for a unified action to come and ask each and every one of us to work together and invest in this planet, not only for us, but also for our future generation, to have a more prosperous and an equitable future. We can also call it as a Earth Day movement to protect and conserve the environment, which all started in the year 1970s. And if you see, it is during this period that we can call it as a birth of the modern environment, which has started up. And coming together of more than 1 billion people every year to make some action to change the human behavior and to create a global, national, as well as local policy changes, which will cater to the needs of all the living organisms in this planet. We have various environmental related issues. There are pollution problems, global warming, climate change, various gaseous emissions. We do discuss across various nations. And with such rising issues throughout the world, we can say that we are the prime as well as the advanced living being on this planet who has knowledge supported by various other systems. And since we have the knowledge, we have technology-based solutions to address all these various problems and issues, to overcome various challenges that we are facing each day. I think the speaker on this day is an expert and will always stress upon on the theme of this year, invest in our planet, which does not mean to say regarding our routine investments and financial aspects. Means that we have to invest our time, invest our interest, invest our ideas, invest our policies, and every individual has to act upon towards a sustainable planet. Hence, on this Earth Day, all the peoples are encouraged to appreciate the natural world and to take part in environmentally friendly activities such as planting a tree or even reducing the waste and going for a renewable energy systems, which will build a green and a healthy planet for tomorrow. Thank you for the opportunity provided. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your nice words. It's now the section says for launching our e-brochure on Earth Day, Invest in Our Planet, which can be downloaded from our websites. Now the time for introducing the speaker's profile. Dr. K.N. Kusuma is Assistant Professor in the Department of Earth Science, Puducherry University, and she holds a PhD with her academic career spanning from geology to remote sensing. She's a postdoc fellow from Physical Research Laboratory, Ahmedabad. She has been working as an assistant professor in the Puducherry University since 2015, and her area of research includes remote sensing, GIS for Earth, and planetary sciences, hyperspectral remote sensing for mineral explorations, planetary analog studies, geomorphological studies. She has about 8 international publications and 5 national level publications, and also authored around 6 books. Dr. Kusuma has also undertaken research projects with the Department of Science and Technology and Indian Space Research Organization, and she has 2 undergoing projects which is currently going, DST and IUIC's sponsored one. Welcome, ma'am. Now you can start your sessions, ma'am. Ma'am, your voice is not audible. Maybe I think speaker is. Your voice is not audible, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Now.
Yeah, now it's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. So my slide is visible now, sir? Yes. So after this,
Can you make it in a presentation mode, ma'am? Presentation mode.
yeah, I'll make that. So there is a request. By chance, if since we are having webinar, there might be some problem in the internet. Just if I am going without, if there is some break, then let me know it, because
Sure.
I will not be able to see who is there or that. That is
We
the
will inform you. We'll be here all the time.
yeah, that is the thing. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, so it's it gives me an immense pleasure to talk about the theme of Earth Day 2022, that is Invest in Our Planet, that is organized by Envis Hub Puducherry. Okay, so why we have to invest? Just the previously speaker, I think Sagaraj sir, he talked about we need to invest in our planet. So it is not what we call monetary thing, but we have to do something about the environment. But I would say that it is definitely equal to more than your what we invest in terms of money. So now, even though this talk is on invest in our planet, in this talk, what I will talk is that I will be talking like a marketing person. That is why we need, like a marketing person saying that why we need to invest in our planet so that my product gets sold, right? So like that, so you can see that what so, what is why we need to invest in our planet? So, first thing is this one. What this slide shows, our solar system, and we can see that in this one, our Earth is the only blue planet which is having a lot of more than 70% of Earth covered by water. Rest of the thing is covered by land, and this it's having greenery, that is vegetation, and it is also the only planet in which presently we are having living organism. We are, as I am also working on planetary science, working on Moon and Mars, we are searching for life on extraterrestrial bodies, but till now we have not achieved that. So we have only one planet, and that is Earth. So we are lucky actually. So how this has been, we have to preserve it. We are taking Earth for granted, but we can see that present day scenario, we are experiencing so many things. So it is actually, it's high time that we take action. So why our planet is habitable? Because we are having something called atmosphere. So this atmosphere is made up of, it is a gaseous body which is actually making a cover over our Earth. So this is actually, it's a life-giving blanket. So from the sun we are deriving the energy, and the solar radiation is impinging on the uh, atmosphere. The harmful radiation, that is like gamma ray, X-ray, and UV ray. Majority of UV ray is also absorbed by the atmosphere, and there are gaseous constituents like carbon dioxide, uh, nitrogen, oxygen, etc. So these also absorb some amount of light, and they prevent light in the natural scenario. These gases, that is carbon dioxide, methane, etc., and water vapor, these actually act as a blanket, that is they trap the heat, they don't allow the heat to go out. So we call them as greenhouse gases. So because of these greenhouses, we are saying that now we say that whenever we talk about global warming, we talk about greenhouse gases. But is greenhouse gas always not it's harmful? No, it is not actually. You need greenhouse gas to trap the heat. Since we are having the heat, that is actually we have a cycle of energy flow in the system. So initially, when there was no human being, also Earth was there. Now, even if human is not there, then also Earth is going to be there. So during the past climatic conditions, past years, we can see that this greenhouse gases, they trap the heat, and responsible in a way is responsible for formation of life and sustainability of life. So if you see the composition of atmosphere, we can see this nitrogen, oxygen, argon, neon, helium, hydrogen, xenon, etc. And we have carbon, water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, ozone. So these and particles, chlorofluorocarbons. Mostly, if you take this one, so all of these things, water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, these are called as the greenhouse gases. So which trap the and we have ultraviolet ray, which actually controls absorbs the UV radiation, which is actually harmful to the human being or any living organism. So we are lucky that our atmosphere is there, which actually prevents this kind of harmful rays, and we are actually receiving the visible region to micro radio wave range of electromagnetic spectrum. Okay, so but we are seeing that in the recent years there is increase in the global temperature and related influences. So that the rapid change in the temperature and sudden increase in the temperature, which is actually irreversible, that we call it as global warming. Okay, so global warming has that is what we also call it as climate change. So according to the IPCC report, there is recent changes in the climate are widespread, rapid, and intensifying, and unprecedented in thousands of years. So, it is very alarming. We have to take action. What kind of action? Why we need to take? The things I will be discussing about how it is we are attributing this change in temperature to the global warming or the so the Earth's temperature, which was Earth's temperature is there from the beginning. Earth's atmosphere is there from the beginning, and this temperature has been varied. If you see the geological records, we see that there is actually natural cycle of increasing the temperature and decreasing the temperature. This may be mainly controlled. Hello. So this may be mainly controlled by natural emissions, mostly the ejection. You have the emissions that is coming from the volcanic eruptions. They were going to be one of the reason, and second reason was also attributed to the impact, that is large meteorite has impacted the earth, and because of that lot of dust has released and that has blanketed the earth, so thereby decreasing the sun's ray and changing the temperature of earth. So we can see that there are about 5 ice ages global ice ages, or we call it a snowball earth, where the entire earth was covered with snow. That is natural thing is there. So now we are saying that there is global warming. So what is the reason? So that is the thing. So Earth's climate has always changed naturally, but both the global extent and the rate of recent warming is unusual. So if it is a natural thing, it will be slow and it can be reversed. But now what we are having is very rapid. So this is the graph, which you can see that it is on the left side we are having the solar irradiance, and on the right side we are having degrees in Celsius, that is the change in the temperature. And what we have here is actually the measurement from 1880 to 2020. So here we also can see that most of these temperature measurements, some were historical measurements taken from the ice cores, and then rest were from the satellite data. So you can see that this is actually solar yellow curve that indicates the solar irradiance, and as you see, this is our energy that comes from sun. So if it is natural energy, you can see that there is a natural cycle of sun almost about 11 years, and you can see increase and decrease of that one. And the surface temperature, that is Earth's temperature, is actually in the initial years up to, let us say, around 1900. You can actually, there is a replica. But if you see from here onwards, then there is a increase. Okay, so and it is rapidly increasing from, let us say, from 1950 onwards. You can just 1950 is somewhere here. Okay, sorry here, and you can see there is no correlation between the solar irradiance and the temperature of the earth. So there is a rapid rise, and this is what we attributed. This rise is attributed to the human activity. So what are the human activity that we do? So this is actually the prior to normal earth condition. We have, there is an interaction between different spheres of the earth. That is, we are having atmosphere, biosphere, lithosphere, hydrosphere, and there is an interaction of energy and matter that in between this system. So one of the things which is very important in this is the carbon cycle. So how nowadays there is a lot of studies about the importance about the carbon sequestration studies, where actually we are talking about how the carbon is actually sequestrated. So if you take geological thing, so you can see that the atmosphere, which is having carbon dioxide, that when the rainwater comes down to the passes to the atmosphere and reaches to the earth's surface, it interacts with the carbon dioxide to give a weak acidic acid, that is carbonic acid, and that in turn interacts with the rocks. So these rocks, they are actually chemically weathered, okay, and then finally it will be the carbon dioxide. In this process, the carbon dioxide is used. So the natural geological process uses the carbon dioxide, and ultimately carbon dioxide, CO2, is leached in solutions, and finally it reaches the ocean. And we have the ocean, which is actually, there are so many organisms living in the ocean which actually precipitate this carbon. So calcium is there in the ocean in solution, and CO2 plus is also there. So it's actually so you have calcium carbonate forming. So you organism use it for making their shells, and also you there can be chemical precipitation of calcium carbonate also possible. So therefore, if you see that the ocean is the major sink for the carbon. So now what is happening is that because of the human activity, we are having it is like we can just think that if we take our body, we have, because of the human activity, we can, if we analog earth as our human body, and we can consider the rivers as our blood network, and we can also consider our biosphere, as well as, that is, the trees and the ocean as our lungs. So if because of the temperature increase, what happens is that the capacity of the uh, ocean to precipitate the carbon dioxide, precipitate the calcium carbonate, that becomes less. So what you are doing is actually, because of human activity, we are actually making our planet sick. So if we have a sick body, then how do we perform better? So that is why I think we definitely need to take care. So if you see, that is the main problem about all of the root cause for global warming is human. Human does so many things. Human needs earth for living, and then building houses for food and recreation, whatsoever. So what we do invent some new things actually, which we think that it is useful, but we don't know its harmful effect in the long run. So if you see that as no other animal has caused so much damage to the earth like human being. So you can see this is basically the plastic. So nowadays, if you see, one of the major problem is microplastic. So microplastic is seen in in marine life, and human eat this marine life. And now recently I have read some newspaper report that for first time in human blood we have seen this microplastic. So it is the main problem, or the root cause of global warming is actually human. So how human population and our need, that is, we are all responsible. So how that is actually impacted, we can see in the subsequent slides. So you can see this is the United Nations World Population report. So you can see here from 1700 to 2020, 2048, you can see the graph, how it is increasing. So the number of people is rapidly increasing since around 1900. You can see there is, since this region, you can actually, here you can just see there is a rapid increase in the population of earth. So because of population of earth grows, when we have demand. So what demand, we call them as food, roof, and cloth. These are the three major things that a human needs, and after that the comfort comes. So because of that, let's see what is happening. If you see, most of the people earlier days before the industrialization, what happened, most of the people, they used to stay or live in the places close to the coastal area or near to the fertile land, that is near to the floodplains of the major rivers. Like Indus civilization is there, everything is that major civilizations were there on the banks of the major rivers. So but you can see now here, that is, most of the people, we want employment, and we have major employment in the urban area. So you can see the rural population and urban population because of the whatever the benefit. So you can see that urban population is increasing. So this is urbanization over the past 500 years. You can see that different countries, how it is increasing. Mostly you can see the urbanization has increased maximum in United States, Japan, and you can also see in India also, we can see there is increase in the urbanization, that is about 30% of India has been urbanized. But you see, what about the China? In China, you can see that there is from 2000 onward, there is actually a rapid increase in the urbanization. So we are actually putting pressure on the land. So when you are doing the urban, you are converting a land to urban area. So you are actually converting it in at the cost of something else. It may be open area, it may be forest land, or it may be agricultural land. So you are actually altering the land use of the place. So second is the food demand. With the increase in the food demand, what happens? You can see the world population that is increasing, and the demand in grains, the food demand. You can see that it is in 2050. You can see there is global grain demand that is increased towards about 15 billion ton. Apart from this, if you see, that's not only, most of the world is not depending only on the grains. It is also, if you see that majority of the world's population, they are depending upon the poultry and animal husbandry, all this. So because of this, what happens is that you are converting the natural forest into maybe farmland also. So that is what, if you see that majority, because of this, lot of area on the earth that is being converted from forest to the farmland. It may be a grazing field, or it may be to make a agricultural field, whatsoever. So this cattles, they are also having another problem, that is these cattles, raising the cattle is more, cattles and animals, they are actually counterproductive, or in terms of your greenhouse gases, that because these release a lot of methane gases. So the methane gas production also increases because of the increased load, increased number of the growth of the cattle. So you can see this is the result, actually, deforestation. So we cut the forest area, so we reduce the forest area. So you can see this is a satellite imagery that is of the earth, and where you can see that where you have, this is actually tree cover percent 0 to 100%, you can see. So it is 100% cover is left only in some places, but majority of them are at risk, actually. So you can see that major, if you see the deforestation, Amazon forest deforestation is very stark, actually. So here you can see this graph, you can see that from 2000, the deforest rate is actually increasing annual rate in square kilometer since 2006. You can see that is alarmingly increasing. So if you see the country wise, then you have Brazil, Indonesia. These are the countries which are having highest loss in the tropical forest. So forest, they are actually they are not only primary production centers, but they are also house for many of the animals, birds. So you are you are actually, if you are removing the forest by deforestation, you are in a way killing the biodiversity of the region. So this is per capita CO2 emission from the deforestation for food production. This you can see, this is source is given here. You can see that these two countries, Luxembourg and Brazil and Indonesia, they account for maximum per capita emission for food production. Whereas if you see India, then India's per capita is much lower compared to the other countries, about 0.808 ton. Now, for India, there was one study. I was looking for some studies about India, so I saw that there is a paper published by Diva Bhatt et al. In 2019. So, impact of climate variability on rice yield in Uttar Pradesh. So, in that one, they have talked about the Indian scenario, where you can see that here there is a population growth of India from 1935 to 2000 is noted. 1936 to 2055, that is a prediction is there. So you can see there's a growth of population is also there. So you can see that this population growth, that there is an increase in population growth, whereas you can see that the per capita surface water availability, you can see that there is a decrease. And irrigation water requirement, that is actually there is a increase. And all amount of food grain production, you can see there is not that much increase, there is a marginal increase only. So this is what tells about the impact of your population growth on the food production and the resources. Next, we need fuel for many things. For cooking, simplicity is cooking, from traveling, light, all these things and for industrial purpose. So we require energy. So you can see the energy demand, global demand, it is actually increasing from 1850 to 2000. This is projected. So from by 2050, it is estimated the energy demand is estimated to increase by 26%. So there are in this one, it includes all type of energy, that is your mostly fossil fuels. Then we are having green energies also. So the climate change is widespread, rapid, and intensing, and we have to deal with it. So this is actually, we only created this because it's like, if you see Hindu mythology, there is something called as Bhasmasura. So Bhasmasura is the one who I think Bhasmasura was created by Lord Shiva, and he wanted to kill some demon. But later, what happened? He started attacking Shiva itself. So he had to killed by some trick. He had a boon that if he keeps his hand on somebody's head, that person will become ash. So Vishnu did some trick, and he was killed. But it is like, what I am trying to say is that whatever the climate change, that the changes that we have done is actually like Bhasmasura. We have to do something to kill this or nullify the effect. So what are the major climatic changes that happened in the last decade? So it is, first thing is that carbon dioxide emission, that is increased, and because of that, the increased carbon dioxide emission and also the methane emission, we have increase in the global average temperature, and the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, that is increased tremendously for about 400 ppm level, and as a result, there is an increase in the sea level. And because of the temperature increase, there was decrease in the ice, that is the decrease in the cryosphere, and also extreme weather conditions become more frequent and severe. So this is actually the statistics or the graph which shows the increase in the carbon dioxide emissions. So this is the sources. These graphs are taken by the climate.nasa.gov. So you can see this. This is from you can see there is an increase in the CO2 level. So this is actually historical record, and plus the recent one, where you can see that there is about in here, this up to this it is actually indirect measurements, and rest from here 1950 onwards we have direct measurements. So these indirect measurements were reconstructed from ice cores, and you can see that this from the industrial revolution, that is we have very drastic increase in the CO2 emission. So as a result, CO2 is the major greenhouse gas which increases the temperature. So we are having temperature variation. So you have here you can see the graph which shows the increase in temperature anomaly. Temperature anomaly is constructed from the average temperature between 1951 to 1980, and any deviation that is plotted, and we are actually here, that is we are showing a increase in trend. So it was that is about 19 of the hottest year occurred in since 2000. You can see the increase. These are the increased anomalies. And 2020 was one of the hottest year, which is also and 2016 was also one of the hottest years since 1880. So this is what projected increase in the frequency and intensity of the high temperature for every 10 years. So from 1850 to 2000, it happened only once in 10 years, whereas it is in the present condition, there is 1 degree warmer. So it is occurs this intense change of that is intense heat period, that is occurs 2.8 times, whereas with increase of 1.5, this one there is likely to be the warmer years, extreme warm years are possible between 4.1 about 4.1 times. If it is going up to 4C, that is an extreme case, then it's almost most of the 10 years, every year is going to be extremely warm. So then I don't think in this condition our life will sustain, or something will happen there. So that is very unlikely scenario, because our Earth has a capacity to sustain itself till now. That is so. The future warning is this I will skip. So you can see this is the pictorial representation of the global warming, how the temperature is increasing. So if it is 4 degrees C increase in global warming, entire area is now will be totally warm. So as of now, you can see that global warming is highly affecting the polar region. Because of that, we are having the melting of ice. That is cryosphere loss is there high. But if you are increasing, that is, so 1.C is presently by IPCC report, according to them, we want to keep our global temperature rise by 1.5 degrees C. If it's beyond that, what will happen? You have this one. So under all the scenario, the threshold will be reached by, that is, there were several simulations. So by 2040, if we are not doing anything, the temperature will go up to 1.5 degree. And after that, it will be a cascading effect will be there. So what happens if the temperature is increasing? Then, so it is having multiple effects. So one of the things is that there is a increase in the ocean heat content. So ocean heat content, why this ocean heat is important? If you see the ocean, it covers about 71% of the surface of Earth, and ocean water is also one of the the material which is having very high heat capacity. That means it absorbs maximum heat. So if you take the global warming, then the 90% of the global warming is happening in the ocean. So because of that, you are having different effects. That is one of the important effect you can see, that is the bleaching of corals. So corals, if you see the if you take the ocean, then the ocean biodiversity, these corals are one of the most biodiverse hotspots if you see the ocean life. So you are actually destroying the coral reef. Then because of this, there will be accelerated melting of Earth's major ice sheets, and then we have intense cyclones and hurricanes, and also there will be change in the ocean productivity, health, then also in terms of their biochemistry. So that is what I told. If the temperature is increasing, then the carbon dioxide sequestration capacity of the ocean, that is decreasing. So that their way you are actually once again increase it is actually a kind of vicious cycle or a positive feedback. Even if a slight change of something is happening, the effect is very high. So you can see the ice sheet melting, that is as a consequence of the global warming. You can see you see the Greenland and Antarctic and Arctic ice sheets and ice caps. They are the major reservoirs of our fresh water in the form of ice. So they play a major role in controlling the Earth's climate, overall health of Earth. So you can see that since 2002, there was a measurement by NASA's GRACE and GRACE follow-up missions were there. So these could actually map the extent of the ice and in Antarctica and Greenland. So you can see that the mass variation occurring from 2002 to 2022 is, you can see the change. It's actually a decline is there in the case of Antarctica. Same thing you can see in the case of Greenland also. You see the rate of change is very alarming. That is, in the case of Antarctica, it is about 152 billion metric ton per year since 2002, whereas in Greenland it is still enhanced. You can see that it is about 275 billion metric ton per year is lost since 2002. So this is what is the effect. So you have the ice melting, then cracking of ice. So you have icebergs formation, all those things. So whatever we do, seas will continue to rise, but if you don't do anything, that is by the end of this century, it might it will go up to, predicted is up to 5-meter rise might be there in certain places. So if you don't, because of this, we need to check our temperature by 1.5 degrees centigrade itself. Otherwise, it will the sea level will rise, and because of that, we will have coastal inundation, and then you also have coastal high denudation, that is high rate of coastal erosion. So because of the sea level, so melting of ice, I told that there will be a sea level rise will be there. So it is basically the level of sea. It will, you can see the changes, that is from 1993 to present is shown here. So this is since 1993. It is about 1 meter, that is 102.3 millimeter. That was the rise, and from historical records, that is from 1902, that is these historical records were taken from tide gauge station data. So this is up to here. So the modern measurements using satellite came after 1993 only. So till that it was tide gauge station. So you can see the rapid increase, or it's not a gradual, it is actually a exponential increase in temperature. Sea level rise is happening. So basically the sea level is happens because of the combination of two effects. That is, one is melting of ice sheet and the glaciers on the land, but plus because of the late increase in the heat of the water, ocean water, there is a expansion takes place. So because of these two effects, there will be rise in temperature, sea level. So immediate effect, what we see is increased coastal erosion. So because of that, you can see the people in the coastal area are continuously under threat. So their property is lost, their house is lost. So the land is lost to the sea. So if it is continuing like this, so you can see that if about, this is the scenario, that is about if half of the 20 centimeter sea level rise, if it happens, this is published in by this report was published in the Guardian. So this is, you can see if it happens, what happens, the potential scenario of future sea level rise in South Beach, Miami, Florida, with global temperature rise of 2 degrees C. So you can see this is the simulated condition. Majority, so many buildings will be under water, that is submerged. So if you see the world's population and the cities, you can see that is, you can see China, majority of the things are cities affected will be in China. Then we have in Dhaka, Calcutta, Mumbai. Recent report published in Hindu says that most of the about 5 major cities in India will be affected. That is Chennai, Mumbai, Calicut, no sorry, what is that? Kochi and Trivandrum. These cities will be affected by sea level scenario. This is, there was a study by RMSI, and that study was published in the Hindu newspaper. This I think have taken from their source. So this talks about the scenario in Cochin. So you can see that how many buildings will be inundated, and the length of the roads that will be submerged in Kochi as well as in Thiruvananthapuram. So you can see the maps. So the area which will be affected. That means we know about Dwarka. So what happened in Dwarka, is it because of some tectonic activity that is on the west coast of India, and also on the east coast we know about Pumpuhar, that is very famous. In, the place is very important for Tamil literature and scriptures. So this, all these now, if you see, they are underwater. So most likely because of there was a sea level change from uh, the geological past, and at this present we are at the mean sea level, but at some point of time was sea level was at lower level, and at that time sea was much far from where it was now. And when the sea level rose after the LGM, that is last glacial maxima, then the sea level also rose, so submerging this land. So we are actually in the verge of losing some of the region. So what we can do, we need to, the one only thing what we can do is that we can actually try to control the temperature. So how do we control the temperature? By controlling the carbon emission. So So then there will be increase in extreme rainfalls, and the intensity of, there will be frequency of hurricanes and cyclones will increase, and then there will be cloud burst of thing, and sudden the duration of rain will be short period, but the intensity will be very high. Because of that, what will happen is that there will be landslides, flooding, all that kind of problem, and soil erosion, everything will add to the problem. So you can see the frequency of extreme rainfall from 1850 to 1900. It was once in every 10 years, but if it was presently, it is about 1 degree warmer, so it will occur at 1.3 times. If it is 1.5 degree, temperature increases by 1.5 degree, this kind of situation used to occur every 1.5 times, that is every 1.5 years there will be rainfall. And if it is the temperature increases by 4 degrees C, 2.5 times it can occur in every 10 years. So this is same thing. So wetness is shown here, that is how much will be the wetness, the surface wetness will be. So because of this, what happens is that extreme events occur in Anthropocene. So Anthropocene is the recent term that is devised, so which accounts for the time after the Industrial Revolution. So you can see that. So because of that, you have extreme flash floods that is occurring in Leh Ladakh, and intense high intensity, low duration rainfall. You can see this is the condition. So we have, because of the urbanization, what we have done is that the natural course of stream that we have blocked, or we have altered completely. So by infilling, we bring material and fill the ponds, which was actually naturally it's a low-lying bowl, so where all the water would come and collect. But now what we are doing, we are actually filling it. So, but the topography will still follow the gradient and try to fill the bowl. But what we are doing, that this bowl we have filled and we are converted into urban area. Now we don't have any area where the water will infiltrate. So what it will do, it will flow on the roads. The roads will become rivers. So we have extreme flooding condition. This is the condition of Chennai. And in Kerala, you can see this is extreme landslides, Kedarnath flood. So you can see these kind of events are more increasing in India. It is happening in worldwide also. It is not only in India, every part of the globe we can see this. So you can see the Kerala flood condition, Uttarakhand landslide, Leh Ladakh landslide. This was Kedarnath flood before and after. You can see the. Then what happens? Because of this kind of this one, we are also having, because of the increase in the temperature, we also have increase in the dryness. So the what happens? There will be rise in the case of forest fire. We have several forest fires. You can see this, and you can see that from the ice cores. This one, we can see that for the first time in the recorded history, smoke from the wildfires reached the North Pole. That much is the intensity of wildfire. So the frequency of wildfires is also increasing. It is becoming not unmanageable also. So many of the wildlife get perished by this process, and because of that, another effect is there in other parts, that is more drought and heat wave. So you can see that because of the drought, countries like Earth, our country, that is India and neighboring countries, we are highly dependent on agriculture. Even though most of the population are dependent on the agriculture. So because of this drought condition, what happens is that the farmer is not able to grow anything. And you can see the intensity of heat wave in this one. these are the pockets which are having intense heat wave, and these are the regions which are actually having the experiencing the drought, severe drought. So because of that, the farmer is not able to produce anything, so they are coming under the debt, this debt trap, and because of that, they are not able to repay this debt. So there will be many of the farmers, they end up doing suicide. If you see this the states, you can see there is an increase in trend. So the increase in trend in suicide rate actually coincides with the states which are in this one: Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Madhya Pradesh. These regions will have higher trend, whereas you see the Kerala and all, they will be having slightly less trend. I think my next is that because of this increased rainfall, there is another effect is there. That is the soil erosion. So soil, if you see, that is where we live actually. So we have something where we live, we die, everything is in soil. If soil is not there, we can't sustain. Not only we, it is any living object, organism on this earth depends on soil. So if we destroy the soil, then we are actually, it's Franklin Roosevelt spelled it very nicely, that is, a nation that destroys its soil destroys itself. So that is the scenario. So it is actually the soil is the one which actually provides nutrients and provides place where we grow food. So if we want good food, then nutrient-rich soil is required. Because of this extreme rainfall event, what happens is that there will be flash floods, and you can see that the top fertile soil of the area is removed. If you see there were reports in Kerala where after the flash floods, the topsoil, many of the this earthworms, which were actually keep the soil aerated and give nitrogen, they died in last year. I was reading the report. So that was the effect of the flash flood in the Kerala region. So because of that, the soil fertility gets destroyed. So if you see the Indian scenario, so average annual soil rate of soil erosion in the country is about 16.35 tons per hectare, and that is 5,334 million tons per year. And because of the soil erosion, it has another effect. What is that? That is actually the soil eroded, they will go down, they will be carried down stream and deposited in the sink. So the sinks are reservoirs, so the tanks, they have reducing capacity. So because of the silting, the storage capacity decreases, so there is a chance of reservoir breach. So their storage capacity becomes less, and breaching will take place. And rest of the thing, 1 to 2%, that is remaining 61% continues to shift from one place to another. So there is, so we need to take all of these are actually happening. So why this system is so unstable? Because it is mainly because we have positive feedback. That is, even with the small change in one, there is a drastic response in change in the other one. So now we are in that positive feedback, amplified change mechanism, we are there. So if we have to reduce it, check it, we have to actually control the root cause, that is carbon dioxide emission and the CO2, other greenhouse gases, that is chlorofluorocarbon or methane or whatever, we have to check them. So this is the cartoon I will show you. That is, here we have a cartoon. This is for, I think, from net. I just got it. So it is very interesting. Like after some time, we are cutting trees, and because of that we are killing the natural habitat is almost gone. And now if we have to see, you can see this person, the person is carrying an oxygen tank and a helmet. So if you have to leave, this is the condition. Like we are thinking of habiting, going and settling in Mars. So it is something similar to that. So Earth becoming like Mars, that is unthinkable actually. But it will happen if we don't take. So you can see this trees in museum, and you can also see tigers and whales. They are also kept in the museum. So we don't want this scenario. And here you can see this is two things are there. This is same Earth, but you can see that this Earth is with you. This is Earth. Here the caption is without you, means Earth was there from 4.6 billion years, and you came just now. That is, we came just now. So if we are there or not, Earth will be there. So who will be getting affected? We will be getting affected. There is no, so if human becomes extinct in future, it is not because of any other reason, then his own, so our own mistakes, that is what responsible will be responsible for extinction or destruction of human. But we don't want that. If we want a better future for our kids and future generation, then we have to take action. So this is the time. So that is what our Earth Day is about, to make awareness about the people. That is mainly how to tackle this and what we have to do. Alone, if you think that what I can do, if we think like that, it is not going to happen. Actually, each one of us is having responsibility towards Earth. So how do we talk about the health of a nation, that is in terms of carbon emission, that is in terms of, so we have something called as carbon footprint. So it is the carbon footprint, it is the total amount of the greenhouse gas that is emitted from the area. So that is, if you take the nation, then it can be from you, one person also, individual. We can calculate, there are ways to calculate. I have not put it here, but you can see it. So basically, how we live, that depending upon that, the carbon footprint is there. So we consume the fossil fuels and all those things, food, then for transport, electricity, water, fuel, all these, actually how much we are consuming and how much we are emitting, that is actually controlling or in a way the carbon footprint. So if you take the this is the carbon CO2 emission, that is from different countries, that is per capita. You can see that if you see this, the per capita is maximum in these countries, that is USA, Australia, all this. If you see India, it is actually very less, but we have a high population. So that is why what will happen is that, if even though our per capita is less, but our the emission from India, that is about 3 times the third maximum polluter, that emission from comes from the sorry the third most excuse me. So so India ranks third in the global list in terms of emission, and it accounts for 2.6 billion metric tons of carbon in the total carbon emission, global emission. But it is much more than, if you take the per capita, it is much more than less than the United States. So there IPCC, that is Paris summit was there. So now we have to take action. So it is like most of the global leaders, they come together and agreed to reduce the emission in the Paris summit. And then recently, that is in 2021 or so, so there was 26th conference of parties happened in Glasgow, and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he participated and proposed five points, that is called as Panchamitra, to reduce the carbon footprint. So it is about mainly switching from your fossil fuel to non-fossil fuel. So India will get its non-fossil fuel capacity to 500 gigawatt by 2030, and it will meet. We will try to cut down the fossil fuel and switch over to renewable energy. That is by 50% of our energy consumption will be taken by renewable energy by 2030, and we will try to reduce the total projected carbon emission by 1 billion tons from now onwards till 2030. So uh, the carbon intensity of its economy will be less than 45%, and by 2070 India will try to achieve the target of net zero. It is a Herculean task, but it is possible if we all contribute. So, how do we reduce the carbon footprint? Mainly by adopting a nature-friendly lifestyle. So, you can see, leave car-free, refurbishment or innovation, battery electric car, one less long haul flight per year. That is, if you can reduce traveling by air, we can do that. Then switch over to vegan diet, because meat, not in terms of any other thing, but in terms of their methane emission, the contribution to methane emission. If you think, then you better switch to vegetarian diet, and heat pump, and then reduce the heat. Then renewable, switch to alternate energy, that is renewable energy, and we can improve the cooking instead of going for fossil fuel based cooking. We think of alternate methods. We opt for public transport and renewable based energy based heating system in all countries. So, but most importantly, we can see this is very important. That is, we plant trees. So, if you see, that is, most trees are the, just like our ocean, trees are also very important, because that is the source, where the oxygen primary productivity is happening. So teach. So there are two things here. There is kids and there is a tree. So we have, our future is lies in the kids, and also, so we teach this kids to grow trees or restore the forest, switch to alternate, and then there is possibility, if possible, we save water, and we also go for the like reducing the temperature. We can go for more reflective roof, and we can go for, suppose you are having a high rise building. So what we can do is that we can actually fit the solar system on the solar panels on the sides of the building, so that the maximum surface is exposed, and we have more energy that is coming, and we can save water. We can wherever not necessary, don't use electricity, and if somewhere light is switched on, we switch off. And similarly, increase the green space. If you are in the urban area, we can reduce the green space. We can also go for green roofing and segregate the waste. So basically, waste dump is also one of the major production of methane. And in the urban area, better we restrict certain area for the park, and reduce the plastic. If we cannot say no to the plastic, reduce the plastic, and wherever use, if we use only biodegradable plastic or recyclable plastic. So these are all the things, and wherever we possible, we reuse it, recycle it. This should be our strategy. So we have only one planet that we live here, so we need to invest wherever possible. We need to do our bit. So it is Herculean task, but I would end with this slide where you can see that these are three. Each ant is very small, but they are carrying a very large animal or object. So if we collectively do something, we can definitely achieve this target. So this I will stop. Thank you. Sir, I have completed.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your nice presentations. Dear participants, if you have any queries to the madams, you can kindly post or you can write it in the chat box. We will wait for some time to get some queries from our participants if there is any. Our Honorable Prime Minister has already addressed this year as a lifestyle for environment as a campaign, mindful and deliberate utilization, and instead of mindless and destructive consumptions. So this is the major motto. So I request all these participants to kindly just adopt these lifestyles, have a sustainable life, because still we have only one earth to live. In case if there is no queries from our participants, then we will move on to the Thanksgiving. I would like to express my gratitude to Dr. Kusma Madam for delivering an elaborate lecture on the climate change, food security, coastal sea rises, and the need of a whole. I extend my gratitude to our Secretary Smita IAS for encouraging us in the conduct of such events. I extend my sincere thanks to Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, NV Secretariat for their all-weather support to Puducherry NV's hub in conducting such awareness activities. I thank all the participants and the Eden Beach Management Committees and all my colleagues, NV's team, and the officials from the DST, PPCC, and the Climate Change Cell for the support in conduct of this webinar. Thank you, one and all. And as a part of Earth Day, we are having a solar shops which has been opened in the Eden Beach, where we will just project the sustainable alternatives for single-use plastics. Since Pondicherry has already banned certain plastic items which are under single-use consumptions, so in order to propagate the materials is available in the markets, we just put a stall and showcasing all these alternative products which are available. So I request all those who are going to the beaches kindly pay a visit to the Eden Beach and just pay a visit to the stalls as well. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.